Good Lord. Shout out. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the GOAT, Pinky. See you later.
All your food delivery needs, make sure you go to Light Snack, that's Lyte snack.com. And make sure for all your deliveries, whether it's breakfast, lunch, or dinner, you visit Light Snack and they'll deliver it right to your door. And make sure when you get those deliveries, make sure you're ordering those Magic City wings. And remember, their motto, don't forget to lick the sauce.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Not Just Another Sports Show. Highly touted acronym known as No Jazz. And if you haven't seen it, Google No Jazz. Just NOJASS. For all your clips and pictures. I am your host, Katie. And of course, it's been a joyous few weeks. This is we never did announce that this is a year of doing this, but I have been spending a year and a few more months than that with my partner, Tank. Tank, tell everybody hello, Tank.
What's up, everybody? What's up? What's up? What's up? I'm feeling good looking down on all these other teams who are below 3-1, being 3-1 on the mountaintop of top of the AFC North. I feel good. As James would say, I feel good.
See, now you're making me wish I would have had my sound bite. I might need to get I feel good sound bite. I feel good sound bite. Since we talking about James Brown, what was that song he had? We were like, please, 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 please.
Please.
And y'all know who I'm talking about when I say that. But before we get along any further, we just want to make sure you all join us at No Jazz Show, NOJASSSHOW on our Facebook page, No Jazz Show, spelled the same way on TikTok, The No Jazz Show, THENOJASSSHOW on Instagram, No Jazz Show on YouTube, NOJASSSHOW, NOJASSHOW on what's that? X. GMP Media Group, No Jazz Show on Twitch, and there's an opportunity to watch this on our live Riverside platform. So shout out to Riverside. Shout out to Riverside who catching up in our live.
Yeah.
They kind of been requesting that a little bit, and they've been giving me some pointers and tips on how to make our situation, that much better for No Jazz. Were you about to say something?
No, just listen.
Oh, okay. And of course, we would not be here without the people that pay the bills, and that is Light Snack, LYTESNACK, for all your food delivery needs, your breakfast, lunch, dinner. Order from Light Snack, and remember when you order from Light Snack, make sure you're ordering those Magic City wings. Get all your different flavors: lemon pepper, rub, regular, barbecue, mild, hot, spicy. Of course, spicy. And remember the motto: don't forget to lick the sauce. And we have a quick visit, QUIKVISITS, for all of your lingerie needs, all of your loungewear. It's coming up on that season. Get a little colder. Or just, hang around the house, get something for your lady. Ladies, wear something for your man. And find that at quickvisits.com. Now, moving into, where are we? You're 3-1, so we're going to week 5.
Yep.
Before I really get into that, I want to give myself, you're not supposed to pat yourself on the back. You're not supposed to pat yourself on the back. And I think it's a Bible verse about that. Let another man acknowledge you or give you your graces, but you shouldn't do it. Somewhere along the lines of that. But nevertheless, I won my first fantasy game in my fantasy league.
Congratulations.
Yeah, I was 0-3. I was 0-3, and I switched up some roster spots. Sadly enough, I had the Cowboys defense. We're not going to talk about that. I traded them out for the Bucks defense. We're not gonna talk about that. And I think I put in Romeo Doubs instead of maybe Calvin Ridley or somebody, something like that. But it worked out for me. Now, since I
Yeah.
since I spoke of the Bucks defense, what do you think about that game, the Bucks versus the Eagles?
I thought it was a good game. I was really paying attention to Baker. And, we talked about him the other week but he had really elevated himself to, if not elite status, to near elite status. And also regarding the Eagles, the 4-0, you can't complain about how you get to 4-0. You can only improve on it. You can't complain about it. My thing with the Eagles is to talk about, Jalen Hurts, because the Eagles are last in passing average right now. But they're doing, and Jalen Hurts is doing what's asked of him in order to win, because they aren't throwing the ball a lot right now anyway. And, A.J. Brown got 7 targets. He caught 2 of them. He got on 9 targets. He caught 2 of them at
Put a pin
7
in that.
yards.
Matter of fact,
Yeah.
you know what? You keep going. Can we jump on it right now?
Yeah. I think that he said that he posted something online on Twitter or whatever on IG about basically saying, "Hey, if you're not acknowledged and they don't want you there, just don't make a fuss and just leave." But today he's come out and said that that wasn't directed towards Hurts or the Eagles. It was just a Bible verse. But my thing is this: you have to just ride with what's going on and it's working. And he did say that, hey, when things aren't going well and they aren't, throwing the ball where he wants the ball to be in his hands to help get it going. I understand that, but you don't go and start posting stuff on social media because it causes a distraction and it makes you look like you feel as though your stats are more important than the team stat, which is winning. That's what it looks like, and it makes you look like a diva receiver. I don't think there's anything wrong with the Eagles' offense right now. They're trying to get clicking in certain things. The running game isn't working the way it was last year, and that's an issue because everybody's comparing it to last year. Last year is not going to happen again. As far as the numbers that Saquon put up, Saquon's not doing that again in his career. Okay, 2,000 yards is really a once in a career thing for the most part.
Hold on, right quick.
Nobody's done it twice.
Go. All of you all, go back 9, 10 episodes, and you'll see KD say, as I mentioned, always look at the year after the running back runs for 2,000. But go ahead.
Yeah, it's not going to happen. Everybody's expecting fans, and some of the fans in particular are expecting the same type of production from Saquon that they got last year, and it's not going to happen. That being said, the Eagles, Hurts is doing everything that they ask him and need him to do in order to win while they work things out. They're having to figure some things out of, hey, are we going to be passing more? What are we going to do? What can we do to spring Saquon loose? What can we do to get the ball down? But also, when you win the Super Bowl the next year, you got a target on your back. Everybody's playing at a heightened level because they want to knock off the reigning Super Bowl champs. So that has a lot to do with it as well. It's
We
not,
practice hard that week.
yeah,
Everybody's putting forth their best effort as a professional
exactly.
preparing for the Super Bowl champion. Or, yeah, that's come with the territory. But go ahead.
Yeah. So I mean, I think people need to, and again, I'm not a Jalen Hurts apologist or anything like that. I'm not an Eagles fan, but I'm able to separate my feelings or as who I root for, my fandom and whatnot. I'm able to separate that and still look at everything logically and unbiased. And Hurts, I said before the season, after Cam said what he said, I said I still have Hurts as a top 6 quarterback
In the league today.
in the league today. Even though his numbers aren't reflecting that, the bottom line is results. Hurts has told people time and time again, he's just out to try to win. He's just out to win. Doesn't matter how they do it. So, I mean, if you don't like what they're doing, opposing teams or whatnot, you got to stop it. Until you beat them and knock them off, they're still the team to beat, especially in the NFC and I would say in the league.
Definitely say in the league. Most definitely. Backtracking a bit. Twitter has been around. It doesn't even matter. Social media.
Mm-hmm.
I guess you'd have to be a player with your own show locally to express your opinion back in the days. So we're not going to say no one has never had feelings like AJ. They just never got out. So I'm not going to blame AJ in that regard. Where I am going to blame AJ for his cryptic tweet is you're in an era where it does get out.
Right. Often.
And there's no need for you to double down on that. And the only other time it might get out is when you're expressing yourself to someone in the media, and then you can actually blame the media for twisting your words, even if you quoted it.
Yep.
So we're just in an era where when you tweet that.
And remember, ladies, for all of your comfort and round the house wear, lingerie, comfy clothes, make sure you visit quickvisits.com. That's QUIKVISITS.com. For all of your lounge wear, lingerie wear, sport wear, workout wear, athletic wear, make sure you go to quickvisits.com. They'll be there for you, and you'll love that. I tell you.
It's screenshot as soon as you do it.
Yeah. Once it's out, it's out. Because
Once it's
somebody's
out, it's out.
screenshotting it.
Somebody's screenshotting it because you want it to capture the eye and you want it to be effective. You just don't know to what degree the effect is going to be. And if it's negative, now you're doubling down on what you said, and you didn't say it, you didn't mean it that way, it was just a scripture, etc. So I'm not telling you, because a lot of people will interpret this as I'm telling this man he can't speak and freedom of speech, etc. No, I'm telling you that there is a level of awareness that you need to have because this is your doing. You can't blame anybody else for your Twitter handle. You know, even if someone else is handling your Twitter, and that's probably not very many people who have people handling their social media. Not very many, and it's on you when you say things like that. Now, what I will say is, we all know. I have to agree with my man Chad on this one because it's the truth. We all know why AJ Brown is saying what he's saying because yes, AJ, it's cryptic. You said what you said because they're not going to look at the offense. They're not going to say, "Hey, we're winning," because they don't count wins in the contract negotiation. When the running back trying to get a new contract,
You're looking
you're
at the
helping us
stat.
win, but you're going to look at the productivity. When the wide receiver looking at that, you're helping us win, but you're going to look at the productivity. Same in reverse. Same in reverse. Look at all this productivity that's empty calories that's not producing a W. That's not producing a playoff win. So all that lightning has to be striking, and especially with wide receivers, because I think, just as you said, the most. I'm going to get to that, but I just do believe that probably the diva of all sports, the diva position, is most definitely NFL wide receiver.
Yeah. And it's the most codependent position in
It's
sports
codependent.
because you can play a whole game, run your routes or whatnot, and not get a single pass and not be targeted. And that could happen for 3 weeks. And everybody's wondering what's happening to you. Why don't you have any numbers? Well, they aren't going to say, wait a minute, the quarterback's not doing it. They're going to go back and examine your game and see, hey, is he getting open? Why is he not involved? And if you're still winning, it's like, well, maybe he's not necessary, but you can't contribute the way you want to or the way that most people look at your productivity and contributions without the ball in your hand as a receiver.
As a receiver. And is it I don't know if there's a term, because I understand why you called it a codependent, because you're dependent on the quarterback to get you the ball. But is there a term? Because code means two. to a degree, right? But
Yeah,
does Cole get the three?
that's the position that's most because they're further out from the formation as well. If they don't, I say codependent because they have. If the quarterback's not getting the ball to them, they are not involved in the game as
Well,
far as how
what I'm
people
saying,
look at it.
what I'm saying is, if they're codependent on two people. That's what I mean, because
Mhm.
your offensive
Yeah,
coordinator does have
yeah,
to
right.
figure
He got
out
a
how to get
scheme to
that
get you
offense
open.
to get you open.
Yeah.
And they're the first ones to create the schematic that's going to have your quarterback to look for you to open up the offense for you. So you're dependent upon two other people, and there's an interdependence by default in your complementary wide receiver or whatever complementary receiver you have, even running back, to if you're that guy and you're that
Hmm.
type of guy, you have to do something to get the double off of me.
Yeah.
And
Or if you're the number one, you can still be getting double, but you got to do something that they say, okay, I'm going to throw it up there anyway.
throw it up anyway, right? So it's one of those things where I understand those frustrations because you want the ball, but a lot of those frustrations do come about because the scheme that weekend just does not match up to what you want. You got to stop. You got to stop not giving these defensive coordinators and these cornerbacks their just due, because they might just be locking you up,
Hmm.
and you're using the fact that the scheme ain't working in your way and he locking you up to say I'm getting open and you're not, because all wide receivers probably feel like they're open on everything.
Yeah. And then, like you said, also, if you get locked up, because that's what happened with Chase, with Jamar Chase this past Monday. What's his name? It's not Certain. Yeah, it was Certain.
Yeah, Pat Surtain.
Had him locked down for the whole game.
I mean, you're gonna say, "Oh, Burrow wasn't there." That might have happened anyway, man. Like, you
Yeah.
gotta. I don't. Wide receiver is my favorite position on the football field.
Hmm.
And I think my second favorite position might be quarterback, because I just like the battle. I mean, not quarterback, but cornerback, because I just like the battle of it all. Just
Hmm.
being, that's my thing. But get it on the next week. I guess make the numbers back up and go from there, because we have to stop with this. We are working individually outside of the team, because you can't hide
Right.
this stuff anymore. This stuff is getting out there, and we're gonna touch on that again with someone that even doesn't even have AJ Brown's.
Yeah. And you got and yeah, and also before we move on, you talk about Tampa. I'm looking at Baker. I'm looking at the rookie receiver. I don't want to mess his name up. Starts with the E. Yeah, him. That that's developing into a very dangerous combination.
Because
Because
I trust
and
him.
he's developing into a very dangerous combination. And Godwin hasn't been in. Mike Evans is out. So imagine when Evans comes back. I mean, we could see a change in who the one is, because he's younger, he's faster, and he's more spry. But I mean, I think it's a good combination, those two. And then if Godwin can ever stay healthy, I mean, Baker is looking.
I think
Baker's in
that
a
might
good
be old.
position.
He kind of old.
Yeah, but Baker's in the. I'm talking for this year. But
Oh yeah.
Baker's in a good position. And I like Tampa's offense. I really like Tampa's offense, the nucleus, and I also like what they're doing on defense.
With the
They've
running
got
game,
they got a very solid they got a solid team.
most definitely. All right, we're getting a little feedback, but it's okay. Staying with the Eagles, I want to point something out, because I truly believe, and I've argued this point as far as Jalen Hurts is concerned. I agree with most of the totality of what Cam said about him before. Cam also made up a valid point that he may not be doing that all game long, but when it comes time for him to do it, he actually gets it done. Those types of matches.
Exactly. Right.
He actually gets it done, because it's not that he hadn't been in those situations. But I do want to say this: it's now time to acknowledge that his style of play is a technique to win games because
Yeah.
that was a shootout. The Bucks actually were
Mm.
scoring on the Eagles just as much as the Eagles were scoring on the Bucks.
Right.
It's a technique to clock the game and keep the game short because a lot of people don't realize this. The offense can actually play defense when you utilize the clock because
Hmm.
the offense plays defense when I know I got a situation going on over there on the other side of the field. When they get on the field, they can't be stopped. Oh, yes, they can. How? Don't let them on the field.
Right. If you can't, ideally, unless there's a turnover, you can't
Unless it's a
score
turnover.
if you don't if you can't score if you don't have the ball.
You can't score if you can't have the ball. And I witnessed a shootout. I witnessed a shootout last Sunday night, and the number one defense in the league is not playing was playing current the number one offense currently now in the Dallas Cowboys. And I'm not making this a Dallas Cowboys conversation, but when you say Dallas Cowboys, it ends up being a Dallas Cowboy that conversation and the personnel that they have around them. But nevertheless, I wish that had that technique about him as a $60 million quarterback because when you score before the half and then you score coming in after halftime, you go up to 10, which means that if you can't stop that team, they're going to go down and get 7, but you're always up 3. There's a possibility they can get 3 and then you're still up 7, but you go down and get the 3 and you keep the half. You win, you end up tying because you're playing shot for shot. But just like basketball, just the same way I'm gonna go old school. The same way Duke can end up beating UNLV, and people like don't compare football to basketball. No, I'm gonna play a half court game against people that want to run. And the football equivalent to that is I'm not gonna let you on the field, and I'm gonna let you play the clock. And then when the clock is draining, guess what you're gonna do? You're gonna get back on the field and you're gonna try to score quickly to try to catch up because you're 2 scores down, and that can put you in mistake mode.
Yeah, because you're desperate and you're like, okay, we got to hurry up. You're always chasing points.
That game did not have to be a tie. People want to be satisfied with the tie. I'm not mad at the tie, but I personally wish that the 31 and 40 for the 300 something yards was more like 21 and 29 for 260. And my running back got probably about 40 yards. A couple more possession downs. What Jalen Hurts does so magnificently. I'm coming up to the line of scrimmage and I'm snapping that ball at 2.
Yeah, I don't understand why more teams don't just do it. Milk the clock. You got the lead.
Maybe they
You
don't drink their
take
milk.
take the air out the ball. You don't need to. Hey, take your time. Come up to the line of scrimmage.
Man,
Gonna clock 5, 4, 3, 2. Okay, snap it. Drain the clock. If you have the lead at halftime, eat it up.
exactly. And this is a lot of defenses across the league because you can argue that the Cowboys have the 32nd ranked defense, but they might be getting on the field too fast. I've always said that. Anybody that has a defense 16 below, they might be getting on the field too fast. Anybody that has a defense ranked 16 below needs to utilize this strategy. And I guarantee you, even if your defense and your personnel and your defensive coordinator, Eberflus, is running around the bad scheme, the yardage is going to make your defense climb in the rankings because when you don't have to play against people that are stacking up yards on you because they're on the sideline, they're not going to be stacking up those yards on you. So, all of that being said, I think Jalen, for 120 yards passing, is not getting enough credit as a winning quarterback for that style that he can run. He is becoming that. If I'm playing a boxer, if I'm fighting a
I'm
boxer,
gonna
I'm another skill level of a boxer. I got a
Yeah,
form of
I can.
fighting style.
Yeah, I can. I don't have to just be a power puncher.
I don't
I
exactly.
can stick and move. I need the slug. I can slug. My thing is with him and with these other particularly quarterbacks, we have to stop saying this is how you need to do it, because a lot of people still have a problem with the way Lamar plays, because it doesn't look the way we want it to look, or it's always looked. But the game has changed, and you play and you scheme to your quarterback's strengths. Jalen's strengths are the fact that he's accurate, he's smart, he's level headed. He's not a fast runner, but he's strong. You don't see anyone bringing him down, dragging him down, or slinging him like they do other quarterbacks. You see him, he can run out of tackles. He's a strong runner. He's not one of those, oh, he's just fast and shifty. He's actually a strong runner. And if you get in front of him, if he decides to, he can put some fire to you. But we have to stop looking at, hey, I want the game to be played this way, and if it's not played that way, I have a problem with it because it's wrong. No, the results, it's a win oriented. It's a win. The results of football, for good results, and what you want is wins. If the way this quarterback is playing and the way this team is playing offense are working and you're winning, there's no need to change it. If it's not working, then you have to do something else. But people have a tendency to still want quarterbacks to, hey, this is the way it was played 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 40 years ago. Every quarterback is a pocket quarterback. It's just some quarterbacks have the ability to get out of the pocket and make something happen. You don't take that away from them. You do structure your offense around that, but you keep them out of harm's way at the same time. And I think they've done a good job of doing that with Jalen. And I think they need to do a somewhat better job with Lamar, because Jalen doesn't have to put his cape on every play. Patrick Mahomes doesn't have to put his cape on every single play. Some people think that Mahomes is playing what he's doing has gone down and he's not as good as he once was. No, when he was throwing the 50 touchdowns and all that, he had his cape on being Superman every play. Now he can be Clark. Now past few years, he's been Clark Kent, except when something happened. Then okay, let me go ahead and take over. He's not out there taking over the game the entire every play. He's basically picking his shots. Everything's not a haymaker. He's picking his shots, picking his spots. So, I mean, we have to get out of, it's got to be done a certain way. Otherwise, it's not good football. Otherwise, this guy's flawed. I think the quarterback play around the league is pretty good.
It's trendy. It's trendy.
Yeah.
And the trends begin when you give that MVP award away to a certain style, and then
Yeah.
and then that becomes, well, you got to do this to be
Yeah.
that, and that's where that happens. Now, NFL wise, we going on into week 5, but we're on news segment, and we're gonna talk about quarterbacks, and we've talked about divas. So I'm gonna move right into it. Shadour Sanders did what would be his impression of Willie Tyler
And Lester.
and Les. A lot of you all may not know
So,
who. Oh, Wayne Hall and Madam. Wayne Hall and Madam. Shout out to Wayne Hall and Madam. Yeah, 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 yeah. I mean, and that was the thing. Like they were funking at the same time. But
yeah.
anyway, he goes into the interview and is asked a question, and he does his little mime. Opening his mouth. Just kind of pantomiming what he should say, or what he, as if he was speaking in order to be facetious and have some words to say in regards to, I don't want to talk to the media because this is what you all give my
Mm-hmm.
words. That still doesn't work. Regardless of your verbal boycott, because you have to make yourself available as a player, and when they come to you, you take that time to talk to them, because not talking to them is actually worse in certain cases. Talking to them angry, tweeting could be worse. But I understand the premise of why he did it. Is just, it's a finesse thing. You have to finesse the system a little bit better than that. And before I get into what he should be doing, you go ahead and tell me what you think about that situation. Tank.
I think, like you said last episode, he just needs to go in line and enroll in the Marshawn Lynch school of I'm just here so I don't get fined.
Absolutely.
Because first and foremost, he's still, in spite of Gabriel being the starter, he is still listed and is on the depth chart as the third string quarterback. There's no reason for anybody to be interviewing the third string quarterback because the third string quarterback does not get in the game unless the first two get hurt. You can't put them in. That's the NFL rules. The third string quarterback is basically your emergency quarterback. He can only get in the game when the first and second team quarterback are out with injury
Did you
during
all?
that
Did
game.
you all? Hold on. Very important fact. Very important logistic rule fact. That's why they have depth chart. You can't just jump him. Is it a penalty or a fine? Because you have to list him. He has
Yeah,
to be
you got to
listed for
listen.
the game
Yeah, as the second team
as the
quarterback.
second team, as the second on the depth chart. You can't just jump him. It's just it's what it is. No one is having that young man waste away on the sideline. You jump him in practice.
Right.
So you have to give these people the benefit of the doubt of what they're seeing that we don't see. Your happiness to get Shadour on the field does not matter. And people are going to take what I'm saying and say, "Oh, you stepping for the man." And no, it's just the rules.
And he's the third string quarterback. We don't he doesn't take he takes very few or if any snaps running the Browns offense throughout the week. He's running scout team. He's running I don't know, I forgot who they're playing this week, but he's playing their quarterback. He's not going over the Browns offense. That's why he said himself, he looks at it as 6 days or 5 days a week. It's game day because he's out there, but he's running the other team's offense. He's not being prepared to be the Browns quarterback at this time. They can see something that they like in him, but he's running the other team's offense. He's not I'm not saying that he can play in the league. I'm not saying that he can't play in the league. But at this point, how things are going, he's the third string quarterback. Keep the mic out of his face because all you're doing is making him into a distraction. Why are you asking him how he feels about Dylan Gabriel getting the start? Look, I'm the third string quarterback. I was third string quarterback before Dylan was appointed the starter, and I'm still the third string quarterback. I'm just working, doing whatever I need to do to get better. You don't need to be asking me questions. I don't have anything to do with any of that. I'm just here working, trying to do my job and get better at my job. I haven't seen a Dylan Gabriel interview in quite some time. No one really isn't. No one should be interviewing the backups unless they're actually in the game playing. Do you interview your backup center? No. Why not? Because they really don't matter. They aren't going to be playing. So why you going them for a soundbite? Nobody's talking to James Winston. Why?
And he is
And he is a soundbite. Yeah.
he is a soundbite.
Yeah.
He's a national treasure.
Exactly. So there's no reason to be talking to him. And I also think that his dad needs to concentrate on Colorado and not be giving his opinions or whatnot on Shadur's future and this, that, and other, because that doesn't help. And then also, I think that goes into a possible reason why some teams were hesitant about drafting him.
Because you're seeing what's happening when you shouldn't be talking to him. So imagine if he was in
Yeah,
a position.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and one more thing about Shadur, then I'll let you go, is they're talking people saying, it's come out now that he didn't want to go to the Ravens because he would be behind Lamar. And I don't have an issue with him saying no, I don't want to go there where I'm gonna be sitting behind a 2-time MVP who's 28 years old and just signed for $200 billion. I'm not gonna get on the field. I'm not. That's business. That's him on the field doing what he does. I'm not gonna play. And I saw Acho saying that, hey, or that's something that he should have done because now he will be the starter. There's nothing saying that he would have been the starter. Cooper Rush is signed to that roster to be the backup for Lamar. There's no reason. We don't know. You don't know what would have happened had he gone there. And this is my theory on backup quarterbacks. You have a system that you run because one, your coach likes it. Two, your quarterback is good at that system and he fits in that system. So why would you draft or sign a quarterback that doesn't have any of that skill set?
Absolutely.
The it's run oriented, and it's run oriented not just with Henry, even though you didn't see it last week, but it's run oriented with Lamar as well. Shadour is not that kind of quarterback. So my thing is, you want your backup quarterback should mirror the same qualities physically that your starting quarterback has. Now, if he happens to have some wheels, if your current quarterback doesn't have them, that's great. But you don't go and get what's really basically an immobile pocket drop back passer to go into a run oriented offense where it's a lot of RPOs. So I don't think going there would have done them any good. Just like going to Philly wouldn't have done them any good.
The
I
only
think.
the only thing I can say about that, and I'm not disagreeing with the you want to find somebody that works in the scheme. He's not a runner, but he's young. So young legs could have, and this is with the hypothetical that Lamar get hurt. Young legs might have given him a level of mobility to work within the scheme a little bit. But I will say this: I should have looked at it like, because see, this now comes when Baltimore calls me. This now comes down to study. Come down to study, and anytime you interview for a job, if you have a few days, the job interview person is going to say, "What do you know about this company?" They just want to see, what their stock options are, how long they've been, how many employees they have, etc. But that's neither here nor there. The point I'm trying to make is this: he would have seen that as good as Lamar is and all those MVPs he has, Zay Flowers and the gang aren't getting the ball as much. They He has receivers that aren't very happy.
Mm-hmm.
He has a potential Hollywood Brown on his hands by the end of the season if he don't get Zay Flowers the ball, because that's why Hollywood left. Hollywood said, I like you. You play great.
Yeah, but I ain't getting the ball.
I'm not getting the ball, and that's what a receiver, no matter how much they like you, is not going to be dealing with that too long from a career standpoint. Same thing, what we're saying with AJ Brown. I'm saying he's leaving the Eagles. I'm just saying
Yeah.
productivity for a wide receiver is you got to give me the ball, and I'm supposed to be your number one. I'm out here a decoy or something. So my point is, if you studied the company, you might have looked at that and said, "I get my wide receivers the ball." See, I'm not saying this is gonna happen because it's not gonna happen because you pay somebody $200 million.
Mm-hmm.
But you can flip the company upside down when my man get in here though. He juicing that thing. Prime example. Jason Garrett wasn't better than Troy Aikman by far. Steve Berline wasn't better than Troy Aikman by far. But Troy Aikman made a living out of this.
Mm-hmm.
Berline and Garrett, they some gunslingers. The receivers were loving it. So I'm not saying he didn't make the right decision. I'm just saying study the company, because you might have got in there and saw we can play around with this wrinkle a little bit. Look at the wrinkle in reverse. The wrinkle in reverse is I think you get more offensive production putting Jameis Winston in with that arm he has. Now you're taking a chance they're getting a lot of interception with a gunslinger. I think Russell Wilson, that arm that throw it up under there, probably one of the best to ever do it. Besides Dante Culpepper and the personnel he had. But they know that stuff gonna get old, and so the wrinkle package is, shoot, Jackson Dart can run for 45 yards because he's young. Look how fast he done got in there. He may get his chance. I think Dylan Gabriel. I want to see how he does because he's short.
Yeah.
And I gotta look at that I gotta study that a little bit. Now, getting back to my point on Shadour, because this is where I believe the mix-up is. This is where I believe there's a mix-up. You're not your father in many, many ways.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that's the problem right there. I believe the fans, he's buying that whole mime thing. You can't be buying into what the fans are saying about you're not getting a chance. Don't buy into that. Don't buy into the whole racial thing. Oh, they just doing him this and he had this money that you're feeding into that. You're feeding into that malarkey. You're feeding into it because you're starting to believe it. You're starting to believe it. And that's why you're going above the Browns logo and almost attempting to get above the NFL logo. Because you're buying into what the people on the outside of the facility are saying on social media. And these people are so ignorant in their claims because they don't realize this. The NFL quarterback is probably the most highly touted, highly superlative position in sports.
It's the single most important position in
Single
team sports.
in team
Period.
sports. Period. Don't get it twisted. As popular and as much of a soundbite as Dion was at cornerback, he was not an NFL quarterback. Those reporters were still going over there to talk to Chandler. I mean, Steve Young and Troy Aikman. Yes, they were. They heard from him, and it was great. He played his game, and he had the ability to run his mouth like that, because what he said, he backed it up in football. He was still a corner back with all of that talk. We don't want that from no quarterback. Nothing. That is not what an NFL quarterback does or says. So now you have to stop trying to be your daddy and talk like your daddy as a cornerback can talk, as a defensive end can talk, as a fullback, center, wide receiver. We let them talk like that.
Because
You're
you
a
notice,
quarterback, an NFL quarterback. So what you need to be saying is, I'm gonna be on the sideline, and if Dylan needs me, I'm gonna tell him something. I'm gonna give him some pointers because I might be able to see things he doesn't see. I might be. You have to play the corporate role because you're looking mad. You
yeah,
look
it's
mad.
it, yeah, it's he's and people are gonna say, man, y'all doing this. Nobody, neither one of us has ever said that we hope he doesn't succeed or we don't want him to succeed. I want to see him succeed just because anytime you get a good quarterback in the league, it's good for the game. That's it. From
Yeah, anytime
for,
you get
for
a quarterback,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. For fandom, as far in the fact that I'm a Steelers fan, I don't want to see him do well because if he's doing well, that more than likely means his team's doing
in your
well.
division,
His team is in
exactly.
my division, so
In your
I'm not
division,
gonna be happy about it. But looking at it from a football standpoint, it's good if he gets in and plays well. But bottom line, and this is not a shot, it's just the truth. And I posted in the group today, in the No Jazz Show group on Facebook today,
make sure you
list,
subscribe
yeah, a
and
list
follow.
of all the quarterbacks, the 41 quarterbacks, including Dylan Gabriel, that the Browns have had start since 1999. It's the freaking Cleveland Browns. Gabriel is probably not going to do well. Shadour is probably not going to do well. Not because they don't have the ability, it's because the Browns organization is clueless about football. And 41 quarterbacks in 25 years tells you that they're clueless. Both of them are going to be better served whenever they get somewhere else that's not Cleveland. That's when you actually see if they can really, really play or not.
E.g., Baker Mayfield.
Exactly. And you also see when you talk about what you need from a quarterback, you see Baker's whole demeanor is different now in Tampa than it was when he was in Cleveland. So I mean, truthfully, all y'all Shadour fans and this, that, and other, y'all really need to be hoping that he winds up with another team and has a chance to truly be developed and truly get a shot to play with some competent pieces.
Could be a Joe Milton,
Cleveland is where quarterbacks go to die, even as a rookie.
even as a rookie. Moving on, because we are well, we're slowly approaching the second hour of No Jazz, and I just kind of want to have you all remember to make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe. No Jazz Show on YouTube, No Jazz Show Facebook, No Jazz Show, No Jazz Show Instagram, No Jazz Show TikTok, No Jazz Show X. Now, we're going to move out of this week, out of all those sound bites, and go into our topics. Only the No Jazz Show type of topics. And give out our awards for the week, etc. And then I'm going to get back to something happened because I know y'all thinking you missed something, but I'm not going to, you know what? No, I'm going to go ahead and do it now. Let me just do it now because this will be an opportunity. Fortunate, Tyreek Hill. What did he? It was his knee.
He dislocated his knee and he blew out his ACL and
The
MCL.
ACL. And MCL. We wish him the best. It was against was that the Vikings?
The Jets.
The Jets. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's against the Jets. It was an AFC East game because I did. That's I got over the top for that. But nevertheless, very unfortunate situation. I believe Tyreek Hill is 31 years old. That is not that old. Possibility of recovery always going to be a question with a tear and an injury like that. Can he make it back to who he was 32, 33? It's fairly early in the season, so you could,
Yeah.
have a fast recovery and
He's
get back
expected he's expected to be back for the start of the season next year.
next year. So with that being said, will he be the same speed wise, etc.? And I don't want to get into the politics of and the news of it because he has expressed his feelings about Miami and Tua Tagovailoa, being a quarterback. And so I'm just going to ask you, and this is not me saying it's over. I might be saying it's over for him in Miami. I might be saying he might need to go back to Miami and play well in order to make his value that much better to a team because they're definitely going to look at the fact that he's injured. But what do you think about his possible comeback? And has he done enough in his career to be looked at as, like you say, he come back on the field? And I guess what I'm saying, and I'm saying a lot. Odell Beckham was just not the same.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't want to see
Odell
him
had a
get
lot of
moved
injuries.
from team. I don't want to see him get moved from team to team to team. And Odell Beckham is like this enigma and social media and the media stuff and who he was playing in New York has made Odell Beckham far better than what he really was, for that short period of time. I'm not saying he wasn't a great athlete, but he does get a lot more than he should,
Mm-hmm.
you know. But where do you rank Tyreek? And what I'm gonna do because it's not fair. It's not fair. It's not fair because I want to give him his flowers while he down. Where do you rank Tyreek all time receivers under 6 feet? Because it's not because and that's 5'11" on down.
So I'll start with the first part, and then because now we're going because after the last part we're going into the next topic, correct?
Well,
Or because I
here's what you can do. Here's what you can do.
okay,
I think your first part is
uh,
you understood is
yeah,
Tyreek's future, and then if he's in your rankings, I'll know because I want you to give me your top 5 wide receivers
okay,
under six
under
feet,
six
and then
feet,
we'll be able
okay,
to say, okay, he didn't show up. You
hmm
don't even think because
okay,
a lot of, and the reason I'm saying is I want to give him a chance because there are very few, maybe 2 under 6 feet on the all-time list for a lot of people.
okay. Well, I think that his mentality and I think the way he's going to attack because he's never really been hurt before, so we're gonna have to see how he responds to that. He hasn't been hurt. He's had a pull or something, but
Yeah,
some guys when they have a real injury, it messes with them psychologically and they never get back right because they don't trust their body trust that their body is healed, or it takes them a whole year to get to where they trust it like man. And the fact that he plays such a speed reliant position and he is a speedster, that what makes him special is his speed. That's the main thing. That's why he's called a cheetah. The one with nobody was coming to watch the Cheshire Cat, you know. So he's got to be able to bounce back from that. I think that he will be able to. Obviously, he's going to be 32. So I don't. That's a natural regression as far as your speed and your body anyway from year to year.
Absolutely.
And this injury having to come back from it is going to make it a little more pronounced. So I think that if he can't cut and accelerate the way he used to, but we got modern technology, so it's a lot different now. If he doesn't have that kind of instant acceleration, he's going to have to change his game. Now that's going to be the key point. Is he going to be able to change from being, let's say let's say he is not a 4-3 guy anymore. Let's say he's a 4-5 guy now.
Right.
Will he still have short area bursts of quickness? Will he be able to change his game to being more of a possession to receiver? Will he be able to change it where he's running short and intermediate routes? Will he be that type of guy? That's what we're going to have to wait and see. I think that he's capable of coming back and actually getting downfield. I think he's going to recover because he keeps himself. He's always kept himself in great shape. My thing for him is he going to trust his body? Is he going to trust himself to be able to do those things? Now, and I think another motivating factor for him to do it, the 9 kids he got to take care of. So he might. I mean, serious. I'm serious, man. You got 9 damn mouths to feed.
Hey, hey,
You got
hey,
hey.
hey, hey,
So that could be pushing him as well.
hey.
It's going to have to be a thing of
And they he wasn't married that long, so there's a possibility she might not get that much as far as
oh,
alimony.
you didn't see the thing. She came up, man. She came up. I can't remember, but I
She
saw
already
the
got a
thing.
number.
Yeah, she. How they Lance said in the Best Man. Say, yeah, I heard about that contract, big contract. It's fat, player. It's fat. PHAT. So yeah. But I think that he's going to have to believe in himself. The coaching staff and the quarterback are also going to have to be believing and trusting in him to think that he can do it because he's in the last year of his contract. He has no more guaranteed money. You know, that last year they don't owe him anything. They don't owe him anything. Okay, we're gonna let you come back and see what you got. He's not. He doesn't have guaranteed money on it going into his last year's contracts. Hey, if they decide they want to move on from him once he's cleared, the doctors say, "Oh yeah, take him. Don't put him in the yellow jersey. He can play." Oh, okay. He's
Hey,
good.
I'm gonna
Hey,
tell you,
all right,
it's
cut
hard
him.
to get clear unless you got a headache. It's hard to get cleared in Miami because remember Miami didn't even clear Drew Brees.
Yeah. So I do think that he's gonna come back. I think that he is. I think he's gonna come back and be good. Be a
Okay,
good receiver. Not not
not
great
too
or
great,
anything like that.
too
Yeah.
great and took a dive.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll have taken a dive. Go ahead.
He's gonna probably look like he would look when he was if he hadn't gotten hurt, he's gonna probably look like he would if he was still out there playing at 34.
Gotcha, gotcha. So now he could have been 34, looking like he 30. Right, I got you. I see your point. I see your point. Now, I guess you're on to the second point.
Yeah. Yeah, this is my top 5 of wide receivers under 6 feet. And there's gonna be people on here and there's people that's not on here and because people have, for whatever reason, social media has shown us that people don't read, comprehend, or listen.
Because somebody's
Because
still gonna say somebody's 6'4", right?
yeah, somebody gonna still say, I can't believe he don't have Jerry Rice. What about Randy Moss? Because they 6'2", 6'3", and 6'4". That's why T.O. is not on here.
And I
Man,
specifically said
5'11" and under.
Talking about Tyreek Hill, and I want to keep it fair to him
Mm-hmm.
because I don't think he's up there with
Right.
Calvin Johnson, them, in
Right.
them. Go ahead though.
So again, this is mine, and then KD is gonna give you his
Yeah, I'm
list
gonna think of
of
something.
top. Yeah, he's gonna get you top 5 receivers, and I got 2 honorable mentions of receivers who are 5'11" and under.
Any order?
Order.
You got an order?
I got an order.
Okay.
Or I'm gonna give you number 1 first, and I'm gonna give you some criteria.
Okay.
One, it's not these aren't necessarily. Some of these people might not. Some people might be on your all-time list of all-time receivers. Some might not. So I know some of them probably aren't. But I look at how many, not just your stats, but also how you actually played your game. But I also look at your productivity. People from different eras, their productivity is different because there was more passes thrown now than there were back then. But
Absolutely.
some of these people, I'm looking at it, with the exception of one, and where he's the honorable mention, you got to catch at least 4 passes a game. Okay, you need
Your
4
quarterback
receptions a game.
in
Yeah,
some seasons. Yeah.
yeah, you got to have your career average needs to be at least 4 passes a game. We got guys in the Hall of Fame who, and they were great, who averaged less than for their career, averaged less than 3 catches per game.
Gotcha.
All right, so number 1, I'm gonna save him for last because I got a lot to say about him. All right, so number 2, now let's start from the bottom. My number 5 would be Gary Clark from the Washington Redskins.
I can dig it. I can dig it.
He's not over 6 feet. I'm not saying he's better than Jerry. I'm not saying he's better than
I ain't talking about anybody
the
over 6
Megatron.
feet.
Right, right.
If y'all don't get it by now, man, because the next time we're gonna say anybody not over 175 pounds, they still gonna
Yeah.
throw a 220
So
guy in there.
yeah.
Do your thing.
So I got Gary Clark, and if you go back, if you watch his game, watch his numbers and what he was putting up, Gary arguably could be in the Hall of Fame. You could make an argument for him to be in the Hall of Fame if you wanted to.
If you wanted to. Bad
Number
boy.
5. Number 4, I got Steve Smith, and that's some people are gonna say he's too low.
Woo!
Steve, we already know he had the Triple Crown. He was a Triple Crown winner. He's a pit bull. He's a pit bull out there. There's nothing. He's 14,000 yards. People say he should be in the Hall of Fame. Tough as hell. Probably the scrappiest wide receiver under 6 feet, or maybe the scrappiest ever. Because that dude, even today, if you say something to him that he doesn't like, he's ready to square up.
He's still ready to square up.
Yeah, he still got the chip on his shoulder. Yeah, remember a couple years ago, he wanted to roll up Michael Irvin. Remember, they got to and it's like, hey man, we both retired. We in the media. Why you trying to actually fight? But Steve Smith, I got him at number 4. Number 3,
You gonna roll up on
and
that young boy too.
yeah,
But go ahead, I'm sorry.
number 3, and this was close, and it's only because his exceptional the speed that he had makes him just a phenomenal weapon. Big play. I got Tyreek Hill because he is the equivalent. He doesn't have the same hands, but he is the equivalent as far as big play, as far as getting downfield
Bad boy.
of Randy Moss. If Randy Moss was that short, you don't. He gets by everybody. He can do all those things speed wise that Randy did. People are fearful of Tyreek Hill. There's a reason why people was talking about Pat Mahomes the way they did when he threw those 50 touchdowns. There's a reason why the Chiefs did win that Super Bowl. I mean, he's just a deep threat. You could have they named Cheetah. There was a wide receiver who ran a 4.3 from UNLV who played with the Falcons. He was the fifth gun bullet in the chamber when they had the red gun offense. His name was George Thomas. They called him Instant Heat. You could have given Tyreek that. You could give Tyreek that name of Instant Heat because after his second step, it's Oh Happy Day. All right, number two, got to give some respect to those that came before, and also one more thing, with the exception of one of my honorable mentions, these are also receivers under 6 feet that I saw play.
Hold on. Don't do an honorable mention
Okay.
until I say mine, and then honorable
Okay.
mention.
Okay. Okay.
You
Yeah.
might cross me. You might cross me.
Okay.
But I'm
Okay.
pretty sure we going I'm almost certain our number one gonna double up.
Okay. All
I'm
right.
almost certain our
So
number one gonna double up.
okay. So my number two is Steve Largent. Steve Largent was 5'11", people. There's a reason why Lester Hayes said he gave him fits every time. He
Fits.
called him the Einstein of wide receivers because every route looked the same and he never knew what the hell Steve was going to do until Steve was catching the ball. You look at the numbers he put up and contrast them to what these guys are putting up now. And Steve never came close to catching 100 passes in the season because the ball wasn't thrown as much. And also, all these receivers that I've mentioned so far, they all average. The lowest average Largent was 4 point. He averaged 4.2 catches per game. All these receivers average four catches per game or more. And the top one,
I
I
already
don't
know.
care. I don't care what anybody says about anything off the field. On the field, this man had the greatest run for 6 years that a receiver has ever had, and was a fifth round pick. Wasn't not big, obviously he's 5'10", was well under 200 pounds, but had arguably the best feet in the NFL for a receiver. Antonio Brown, AB. I don't I don't care what you say about anything else that he did. As far as when he was on the field, and we're talking specifically when he was in Pittsburgh, he was not to be messed with. He was the best receiver in the league for a multitude of years. And I do believe that he is a legitimate Hall of Famer. I mean, throw out everything else. When you look at what he did on the field, his time in Pittsburgh, he's a Hall of Famer. And he also averaged 6.4 catches per game in his career. And that's including that's including when he left Pittsburgh. His average per game is still 6.4 catches. He had no weaknesses as far as running routes and catching the ball. And all of these receivers I named, other than and it sound like I'm shading them, but Tyreek Hill was the only one who's not a natural catcher of the football.
Yeah,
The,
yeah.
the rest of these guys are natural pass catchers, and we already know AB, Largent, Clark, and Smith. They dropped very few passes.
They dropped very few passes. They did. They did. They dropped very few passes. All right, that's an awesome list, man. That is an awesome list. We gonna shake that thing up. I'm going to you did your stats and all the stats are legitimate. Most definitely. I'm going to do my top five off who I liked to watch, but I guarantee their stats match up. Ooh, since this is a show and he put one on there, I'll go ahead and he's very deserving. Kylie, I might still put him on there. I just don't know where to put him. Nah, he ain't on my list. He would have been my honorable mention, but he on your list.
Exactly.
Um, I'm gonna tell you like this right now, man. Y'all might not like this, but I'm finna keep it 1,000. Before Chris Carter in Minnesota, before Jettas,
Oh, you going? I know where you going.
before Randy Moss, my number five was Anthony Carter.
I knew you were going that. I was thinking about him myself.
Woo, that used to be Anthony Carter was the beginning of my football years. Anthony Carter, out of Michigan, right?
Yeah.
Before Desmond Howard, we was watching him at Michigan. We really were. We watched him at Michigan with them long socks.
Mm-hmm.
Put that thing right over into the pros, man. Anthony Carter was a bad boy. He was a bad boy.
And if you want to, yeah, I'll let you go. If you want to know how bad Anthony Carter was, look up 87, 88 season. Yeah, because I was at Georgia Southern. Look up the 88 season in the playoffs when they played the 49ers and the Vikings beat the snot out of the 49ers and Anthony Carter put up 227 yards receiving.
Yeah,
Yes, Ronnie Lott and the others were there.
against them. And 88 was the transition because I think that was the year. We talking just the NFC. I
Mm-hmm.
think 88 was. I'm almost certain 88 was Sterling Sharp and Michael Irvin's draft year. Anthony Carter, man, he was
He
that
was a
beast.
bad man.
That was a bad man. See, he's my number five. He's my number five. My number four. I'm going down to the city of Miami, and I'm about to get his thing to Mr. Mark Clayton.
Yeah.
I could have. I he was the man. Duper was over there too, but I'm giving it to Mark Clayton. I'm giving it to Mark Clayton. I like the Garrett Clark. I like the Garrett Clark. We're gonna be fussing about this. And the only reason I'm not gonna say one name is I think he gonna end up on the show tonight. So I'm gonna leave him off my top five, even though he ain't on the top five. But he can get in there. Two of them. Mark Clayton, man. If
Yeah.
you all ever want to see a heaping Holland ton of receptions,
Yeah. You know why he didn't make it on my list?
he was close.
It's because he averaged 3 receptions a game, and I had to go into his postseason. His postseason production per game, went down as opposed to his regular season production.
Now,
That what that I mean, he's right here though. He was right here.
and I'm gonna tell you something. I'm gonna tell you something. And this is not against this. This is how you have to look at context. This is how you have to look at context. Because the man on the other side
Yeah.
was probably why he didn't have 4 or 5. Because when you look at
He's
Marino throwing for 5,000 yards and all them yards he was throwing for, he had to be getting them balls to somebody. So we're talking about an area of context where you might not make the criteria because Duper, who was also under 6 feet, was a bad man.
2 number 1s.
So, but Duper didn't make my list. Clayton did at 4. I'm gonna say honorable mentions too. I'm gonna say honorable
Okay.
mentions because this is so tough. It's so tough because I should have been mentioning his name,
Mm-hmm.
but I ain't gonna do it just to mention name. I'm gonna just put him in honorable mention because the truth is the truth,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not gonna be like that. The truth is the truth. Tyreek Hill, my number 3. Tyreek Hill, my number 3.
Okay.
And he's my number 3. He became what he was because he had a quarterback. He became what he was because he had this tight end. He helped them become who they were too. I'm not gonna say that,
Mm-hmm.
but he arguably did not do a lot in his hands, but he arguably did not do a lot on his own than my 2 and 1. You know what I mean? So that's why I'm 3. I got an honorable mention that got that same argument too,
Mm-hmm.
but he's my number 3, and that's why he could have shuffled, he could have shuffled, but that's why he's my number 3. My number 2 is Mr. Steve Smith Sr. I, I've never seen that package. That package used to come down there to Tampa, and I remember Keyshawn said straight up, I don't really believe in them little wide receivers anyway. That old little wide receiver package, that still has yet to impress me. I think they made that bulletin board talk because that man came down there and spanked the
Yeah.
mess out of Rondé Barber so bad. I hadn't
Yeah.
seen I hadn't seen nobody put that on Rondé Barber like that since Randy did it to him. And you understand, but Woo, Mr. Steve Smith Senior. My lordy, my lordy, my lordy, my lordy, my lordy. Steve Smith Senior. What you about to say?
And the thing with Steve is he just did it. He wasn't. You didn't see him doing like, oh man, how did he do this? He just the ball was in the air, and next thing you know, it was in his hands.
He had
Yeah,
strong hands. He was a 50-50 ball guy when it's up there. He'll
yeah. I
snatch
mean,
it
he
from
just
you. He was a bully.
yeah, he
He was
just but he just wasn't sailing up in the air, snagging. He wasn't
yeah.
doing like these great looking highlight when you look at him catches, but you're like, wait a minute, how's the ball in his hands? And he was getting behind folk. I mean,
He was getting behind folk.
yeah, he was bad man.
Bad man, man. And so I guess he was your number 3,
Mm-hmm.
and he my number 2. So we swapped places. That's what it was. We swapped. I swapped, and I gave you the reasons quarterbacks.
Yeah.
And this is not to say Big Ben wasn't a fantastic quarterback. This is not to say that because I did argue that. I'm just saying that my 2 and 1, my 3 had a better quarterback than them, in my opinion, as far as pure quarterback. This ain't saying what big 6'5" Ben big. This ain't taking nothing away from it. Because I got a quarterback down there that's arguably, matter of fact, my quarterbacks are Big Ben, Cam, and Jake Delhomme, um, Dan Marino, and maybe Eric Kramer.
That was Wade Wilson. Wade Wilson.
Wade Wilson. Wade
Yeah.
Wilson. Wade Wilson. Wade Wilson. So I have some decent quarterbacks getting my 5 the ball. I just think on that list, this guy was just so prolific with what he was doing. I couldn't put. I knew Steve Smith Senior wasn't over him, but I knew I couldn't put, because of who Tyreek had. I couldn't just because
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't that. It
Yeah.
wasn't that. But my number 1 is Antonio Brown. That route running capabilities, man. That boy. Oh my goodness, boy. That thing used to be so. This man, I'm telling y'all, this young man came. Let me. We started this out when I said I'm gonna ask you who it is because everybody can't get in that top 5 because you have receivers that are 6'2", 6'3", 6'4", 6'5", which makes it hard
Yeah.
to get in there. But I'm gonna tell you this: when this young man, them 7 years, when he started coming, and he came, he
He was the
made you
best.
forget about Andre Johnson. He made you
Julio.
forget about Calvin Johnson. He made you forget about Dez Bryant. He made you forget about Demarius Thomas. He made you forget about Julio Jones. That boy was a bad boy, boy. That boy, Larry Fitzgerald, that was a bad boy. He is. Let me see. He ain't going
Yeah.
nowhere. That Antonio Brown. Woo. And I'm arguing for him. Him and Steve Smith, I'm kind of arguing for them in the taller than 6 foot category as well. But in that category, they are there. Now, go ahead
Yeah.
with your honorable mentions.
I'm remember that I got one who I didn't see play, but I've seen film, and I've seen film. I've seen his stats, and he's a Hall of Famer. Tommy McDonald
Okay.
played with the Eagles.
I
You
heard of
look
that. I
if
heard of that.
yeah, if you look at his stats, they compare to what you see these guys doing today. What he was doing. I mean, multiple 1,000-yard seasons in the 50s and 60s,
Right.
and was running by people, running away from people.
Right.
If you look at it, if you go to the Pro Football Hall of Fame page and pull up Tommy McDonald's award speech, that tells you all you need to know about Tommy McDonald.
Tommy McDonald. All right, Tommy McDonald. Shout out to Tommy.
Number 2, my other honorable mention, the professor, Charlie Joyner.
He was
Yeah,
he was
yeah, that man could run a route and made. There's a reason why they called him the professor. There's a reason why he played for 18 years. And you look at his stats, and then you compare it to now, and you say, "Man, he played that long. That's all he got." But you got to remember, they weren't throwing the ball the way they do now. He only
That
had
yeah.
no, no.
No, go ahead.
He had to wait till he got when he ended up in San Diego, and they
Succeed.
started to Air Coryell. But the man was at one time he was the leading receiver yardage wise and catches in NFL history, and he had a streak going of I can't remember how many games of continuous catches in a game. I forgot how many it was, but it was like 100 and some games without, with the catch. So, and so I got Charlie Joyner as my other man. Yes, Charlie was just under 6 feet. He was 5'10".
Absolutely. Okay. Okay. Now I got. I'm gonna tell you. I have Steve Largent. You mentioned him, and of course
Mm-hmm.
he was my outlier. But I'm
Mm-hmm.
glad you mentioned him, so he wouldn't be my outlier. But I have to give him his credits. Um, I'm gonna call. I think I have like four honorable mentions, and this man, one going his name gonna get mentioned again tonight, later on in the show. But Steve, of course. I'm glad you mentioned Gary Clark because I forgot about little 84. I did.
Mm-hmm.
I did. I did. He ain't make my list, but most definitely, you know, um, worth mentioning. Absolutely. But these guys are like I think Tyreek Hill and Antonio are like iPhone 9. I don't want to take nothing away from nobody because I think Anthony and Mark are my like iPhone ones, or maybe they just like brick phone. Maybe they the brick phone, right?
Okay.
And what I'm getting at is there were these guys in between them and that 2000 era. These were some bad men, boy. Like they didn't do they. I don't think they put up enough numbers within enough time, but you could tell that they were the models that were representing the models that was gonna come.
Yeah, I think I know who two of them that you might say because they was close on mine. If go ahead, they might be like.
I got Santana Moss and Lavernius Coles.
Okay.
That little era right there. And remember they swapped.
Yeah.
They went from Jets to Washington, Washington to Jets. Like both on
Mm-hmm.
swap.
Yeah.
They them was some bad boys. Like that little era right there. I want to give them props for that transition because they represented. And I saw Santana boy. The way he used to do Roy Williams, the safety,
Yeah, that wasn't right.
that wasn't right. I would have went to that man mama front dope and told her that wasn't right what your son did to me. Every time. But those are my we need to mention to me. We need to mention them. But my honorable mentions are, and I believe it was the offense that they played in, because they might not make your criteria of four. But they definitely had seasons where they had those 1,000 yard season and an 800 yard. And I'm just gonna say their names. I'm gonna say the great Henry Eller and the great Ernest Givens. Those guys,
Okay.
those guys
Yeah. Yeah.
were
Ella was
fantastic. And
Ella
and
was yeah.
and the truth is,
I could see Ella in the Hall of Fame. I could see that.
oh yeah, oh yeah,
Yeah.
and I think Eller had like a 1,400 yard.
14,000. Yeah, he had like 14,000 yards receiving
Yeah,
too.
he was a bad boy.
Yeah. With the
Ernest
curl.
with the curl. Ernest's situation was it was fun to watch. He definitely had that celebration, but he was out there with Jefferson who was with the Chargers too. And who was the other receiver?
He got to
By the time he got to
when he got
Houston,
to Houston, he was there with Drew Hill.
Drew Hill, Jefferson, they had the four
Not
wide.
not the group, okay? Not the group, not with Cisco and
Lordy,
them.
Lordy, Lordy. And somebody probably gonna be in the comments like, I know he ain't talking about
Like Cisco, them.
Lord. But anyway, yeah, he was with Drew Hill. I think, golly, what was his name? Jefferson and them boys.
Oh, that was Haywood Jeffries,
Haywood
Drew,
Jefferson,
Drew
Haywood Jefferson,
Hill,
Drew Hill, Ernest
Drew Hill,
Gibbons,
Ernest Gibbons, and Tony Jeffries,
Tony Jeffries.
and Curtis Duncan. Curtis Duncan.
Ernest would have had more. It was just the ball distribution that Warren Moon was giving them boys was just. They're not going to make the criteria, but that was a bad boy. That was a
Mm-hmm.
bad boy, and a little bit of he just didn't do enough as an X, but you know, but they're on my honorable mention list. Go look these people up, man. These were some Mark Duper, but I mentioned him, so yeah.
Yeah.
But that's it. Now, segueing into what you're saying, a lot of people do a lot of things that don't do things the same. What do you? Because you mentioned Henry Ella, who should be, and it's creeping up on a lot, but he has Hall of Fame numbers. Why isn't he in the Hall of Fame? Like, what's the criteria that's like what's the stat that's keeping him? Or is it just
Not a big enough name for now. His stats don't jump out at you when you look at what the numbers of guys are putting up now, and you got these guys who put up better numbers more recently who are eligible. So it's a log jam because by that same token, and I'm not saying he's should be in, but you can make a case for him.
mm-hmm.
Stanley Morgan,
Woo,
Stanley Steamer from New England.
Stanley
So
Steamer from New England?
yeah, so you got at the time they retired, they were up there, and you say, okay, yeah, I'm gonna put, yeah, we think we're gonna pencil them in for the Hall of Fame. Probably not, maybe not first ballot, but within 5 or 6 years of it, within of eligibility. And now you got other guys who come in and that log jam, and I just don't. I'm one of those people, and we talked about it before. I don't just go. I can't just look at stats and say, okay, his are better than his, so he should be in since he's in. Because all stats aren't made the same. It's also not just productivity, but what did your productivity bring to your team? Were your stats a lot of empty calories, or were your stats, did you get a lot of these yards because your team was always in catch up, so they had to keep throwing? Because you got quarterbacks who they pad their stats
I know one
because
of
they're always coming from behind.
I know one of
Yeah. So, and also you really, because again, my Hall of Fame criteria for me is, are you not just one of the best in your era, but you one of the best to ever play? If we in the backyard and we picking up side like you did when you were little, picking up, okay, I got you. You pick first, I get second. Okay, I'm gonna pick him. How long is it gonna be before I pick you to be on my team? Or you gonna be like, or you know how you always had the one kid who was like, damn, I hope, man, it's only two people left. It's three people left. Dang, I hope I don't have to pick him. Because always one guy who's last pick.
yeah.
And I think that comes into play with some of these guys who don't get in also.
Hey, hold on. Don't take that. A lot of y'all will take that out of context as to saying,
Mm-hmm.
well, I know you ain't trying to say he would have been the last one picked in my neighborhood. Your neighborhood, the neighborhood he's talking about was when you get into the Hall of Fame with all the rest of the dogs.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we know who he was in your hood.
Yeah.
Then we stepped up. There's going to be somebody say, "I'll pick him last." I will. I won't. It's just what it is. So don't lose context in that, please. Y'all know how y'all get.
Yeah. Yeah. Because but Eller, I wouldn't have. There's some people who I wouldn't have an issue with them going in the Hall of Fame. But at the same time, I don't have an issue if they don't go either. If that makes sense.
All are very good.
Yeah. It's like, okay, I can see how he got in, and I can look at it and say, okay, I can see how you got him in.
That's why it took him so long.
Yeah.
If in that sense, yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
so I'm with you on that question. I don't have to beat that up. I wanna move right in to the legitimacy of Daryl Johnston getting into the Hall of Fame.
Hmm.
And I think, of course, I'm biased. Of course, I'm biased, but I do believe he opens up the door to start looking at, because here's what I'm saying about Daryl Johnston. I look at all the busts and I say, what if I'm running a certain offense though? You know, even if my bus says, nah, I'm gonna go ahead and put Franco back there at running back. I'm gonna put Emmett back there at running back. I'm gonna put Barrett back there at running back. We should be good. But you put Moose back there at fullback for that guy against this awesome defense that's on the other side. Remember, the bus got defensive players in there too. So I'm saying to myself, this opens up the door, and I think his argument is not statistically his yards so much as the number of yards he had something to do with.
Yeah. And the results of him being on
The
the
results
field.
of him being, you know what I mean? And the same argument can be made about my man that was behind Lorenzo Neal for LaDainian Thompson. So I think the context in that you start, and I think that context now what that does is that opens up Pandora's box. You know, like Lorenzo Neal, Daryl Johnston, Matt Suey, pure.
Yeah. And and like for Johnston, because when I saw that, I was like, okay. And I'm looking at the results of Daryl Johnston being on the field. The results is Emmett had the yardage that he was putting up running behind him, and also that helped lead to 3 Super Bowl rings. It's the results. It's not because
No,
Johnston had a little over 2,000 yards rushing, but that's not what he was there for.
look at him for that.
He was
Exactly. He pure.
he wasn't there for catching passes either. He was there putting his neck on the line literally for Emmy.
And the thing is,
And I got a comp for that.
now you gotta go back to, well, if you're gonna do that and he only had 2,000 yards career, what about Mike Allstott? And see, Mike Allstott, and I'm not
Yeah.
taking that away from the
Yeah.
A train.
Yeah.
It's just different because that's how he kept making it into the Pro Bowl.
Yeah. But he was
Utilized as a
carrying the
running
ball
back,
more. Yeah.
utilized as a running back, but listed as a fullback when you get to the
Yeah.
Pro Bowl. And now you're going that's Pandora's box. I mean,
Yeah.
when you do that, you know, because
Yeah.
Mike ain't
But
going into the Hall of Fame starting over nobody, getting
yeah.
that many years.
Yeah. And he's not, and Allstott didn't lead to anything. It didn't lead to anything. Nobody got any jury because Allstott was doing what he was doing.
He got his jewelry. But the point is, if all stock was
There
pure,
was yeah.
Warwick Dunn might be higher in the
Yeah.
all-time leading rushing title list and all that stuff. So let's just
Yeah. Yeah. Because now my comp, and I said I'm not one of those guys who said, well, he got this and he's in, so he got this, so he should be in. I'm not, but this is one of those rare occasions where this is another guy. He's a running back because of the way they ran that system.
mm-hmm.
As the running back, he was the lead blocker for the fullback. But his results was he did have 1,000-yard rushing season, and he also got 4 rings. I'm talking about Rocky Bleier. If you
There
look
you
at
go.
he and Moose are like close to. Blyer's got 3,000 yards rushing. He's got more touchdowns. But you take Blyer out of that backfield, Franco doesn't have as many yards rushing, and the argument can be made that they don't have as many Super Bowl rings.
Was
So
Brian
they,
Piccolo a fullback?
yeah,
This is the argument he's making. What Gale Sayers was doing, that's pure.
yeah. So I would if you if
What you're saying is
If Johnston goes
Johnson
in,
go. We need to
you put
retrograde back to
you got to
Rocky.
put Blyer goes in. Blyer should be in. If Blyer goes in, Johnston should go in because what they did, how they did it, and the end results of them being there are basically identical. I mean, like I said, Rocky's got better numbers as far as rushing numbers and receiving numbers and touchdown numbers, but it's not huge. It's not like, man, he got 4,000 yards more rushing. He's got like 1,000 yards rushing, and he's got maybe 15, 20 more touchdowns.
The
But
anomaly.
both of them go in because
Exactly.
they both did the same thing.
Same thing. And I'm glad
Yeah.
we speak in backfield in this segment because this might lead to another segment. But we're gonna let it be where it is. I'm glad you're speaking that because the anomaly tandem in that would be probably what Larry Zonka, Mercury Morris.
Yeah, but I think but I don't think Zonka was the fullback, but you got more. Yeah, Morris, Kick, and Zonka, and I don't think either not Zonka, Kick and Morris, neither one of them. No, neither one of them sniffing the hall, and they weren't around long enough anyway.
So
But
Zonka not in the hall.
yeah, Zonka's in.
Zonka in.
Yeah, Zonka's in. But Morris and Kick aren't in.
Morrison. So that power, the power running fullback in that
Yeah,
era is what got Zonka in
yeah.
because he was
He was the fullback. He was the
so
main ball carrier.
he was the main ball carrier, and I think he may have been Tony Nathan early years in his latter years, but Zonka was Riggins before Riggins, and Riggins had all them yards.
Riggins was the fullback
See, Allstott would have had it. Allstott would have had to have numbers like Riggins
like
and
that.
Zonka
Yeah,
in his
to get
era.
in. Yeah.
We're not gonna ask you to do running back numbers, but you'd have had to have them that level of, and then it carry you to places. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I can see, and peer, and that would be Allstott's peer group, Zonka and Riggins, and he kind of far from that.
Yeah.
He kind of far from that. All right, I get
Mm-hmm.
it, I get it. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's one of those. But it's going to open it up because I think in that you do have to, and I agree. Go check out Matsui if Johnson gets in. Go check out Rocky Blyer if Johnson gets in, and he should. And who else was that last one? Just those two.
Howard Griffith and who led the way for Terrell Davis for those years, and
Got me.
also and specifically also on Lorenzo Neal because
And Lorenzo Neal.
Lorenzo
Yeah, that was the name. That was the
led the
name.
way for
Lorenzo
a lot
Neal.
of guys. Yeah.
Lorenzo Neal, because all those touchdowns LaDainian Thompson made, that man was sticking his head in there for that.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
taking nothing away from LT,
Yeah.
just keeping it
Yeah.
real.
Lorenzo Neal, Daryl Johnson, both of them are probably 2 inches shorter now than they were when they got to
Yeah,
the league because they kept doing that. Yeah, we got to. Yeah.
football. Still NFL, but we're gonna cross over a little bit before we get into the last 10 minutes of the show and do our tributes, not tributes, but twins. Great question came up by Tank, and Tank, you want to introduce your question? It's the Power Five
Which
global. Okay, the question is with the NFL.
the play. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. What do you all think? And make sure you comment below. What do you all think about the NFL instead of going and playing these international games because they really take away a game from fans because everybody's not flying overseas to go and watch a game. What if they, instead of playing the game overseas or out of the country, they were to take one home game for maybe 5 games or however many they do international, 5 games, and they go to a Power Five school or to a Power Five state that doesn't have professional football, and they play the game there. Such as, let's say they go to Iowa.
Alabama,
Yeah, they go to Alabama. They go to Iowa. They go to Washington State.
Washington State. Well,
Yeah.
Seattle.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah. Okay. They go to Oklahoma,
Yeah,
or they go to Nebraska.
yeah.
They go to I should do. They go to Cleveland. They go to Ohio because they got Cleveland Browns.
But they got Ohio State.
Yeah,
Oh, you
yeah,
say
yeah,
listen,
yeah. They go
but
and
you know what?
play because Cleveland ain't no real team.
But hold on, hold on, hold on.
Yeah, but you go to play in school.
The
You
funny
play in
thing you say,
states
the
don't
funny
have.
thing about what you're saying though is they got Ohio State. That's why
Yeah,
they ain't mad. That's why they ain't mad by Cleveland.
yeah. But if they go and play one game in a state that has a Power Five school, so they can play in that stadium, what do you think about doing that as opposed to playing overseas?
I'm
I
gonna tell
think
you.
I
Yeah, go
think
ahead.
it could be a draw. I think it could be a draw because those people in that state and in that city would love to be able to see an NFL game live, and they already go to those college stadiums and fill them out and sell them out. And a lot of those college stadiums are bigger than NFL stadiums. Yeah,
That's a lot of the NIL money.
yeah. I mean, I think it would be interesting. I think it would be interesting.
I think it. I personally think it would be interesting. I think it would be interesting. But the way the NFL works
Hmm.
is they are going globally
Yeah,
with the interest of we're around here probing their corporate structure. We're probing their fan base. All in Mexico, all our we're probing to see could we house a team here. That's what they're doing. It's
yeah,
gonna take a while, but that's the
yeah.
point. And I understand the premise of bringing that fair there,
Hmm.
but every other state you mentioned is gonna be open to that except one state.
What
They
state?
ain't having it.
Who?
Alabama. I think Alabama and Auburn is football there so much to them to where even that NFL game would be an intruder.
Yeah, yeah.
That
But I
that,
think
that Alabama
you could rotate.
USFL did pretty well there, but the corporate structure,
Hmm.
because there's a reason why NIL is not as
It's big though,
lucrative for them, but I think
and it
Alabama would be the
it
state.
yeah, it would bring a lot of money to those towns also, like Mississippi. They can use that state can use all the money they can get.
Ole Miss is considered Power Five. You're right. Yeah,
Yeah,
Mississippi State,
yeah. Arkansas,
Arkansas,
like I said, Oklahoma, Nebraska.
because
You know,
all them people are Texas team fans,
yeah,
or maybe New Orleans. They might swing up in there, but yeah, you're right. But yeah, that I don't think Alabama letting them in, boy. They got a they got a
yeah. They
problem with
got
that.
like they got on lock. Yeah,
They no. This is it. You know, this is it. This is it. This
and also, let's say they did that for 2 or 3 years and worked their way around to certain states. And like you said, probing to see what kind of draw they get overseas. They could also, because they still sometimes they talk about expansion. I don't think they need to, but they could say, wait a minute, a team in Oklahoma, an NFL team in Oklahoma, that will work. A team in Nebraska wouldn't work, but a team in Montana wouldn't work, but a team in Iowa would work.
could work. Right. You can see the draw. Well, they do the Pro Bowl. They did the Pro Bowl so long in Hawaii, so we know what that do.
Mhm.
Lower Virginia?
Where they got? you got the Commanders there, so
That's
they
what I'm
they
saying.
consider that. Yeah,
The Commanders is
yeah, it's Virginia and West Virginia. Well, still a lot of Steeler fans in West Virginia.
still a lot
So
of Steelers fans in West Virginia. Um, but Virginia is one of those. It's a good football and athletic state. Yet the Commanders in Baltimore are still so DC, Maryland to me, and Upper Virginia. It's still that tri-state thing, but it's still
yeah, I think those teams, those schools and states that are far away from an NFL team, and you put, I think, I think that would be a big draw.
because see,
It'll be interesting.
even South Carolina is using Carolina
Yeah,
as the draw for North Carolina and all of that. So like South Carolina, Virginia, they're one of those. Kentucky.
yeah. I was just thinking Kentucky,
Kentucky might be a draw.
Arkansas would be a draw.
Arkansas, all that. Yeah, yeah. Those little that little cluster. You know,
Goodell, before you get out, before you decide to retire, holler at us. We got something for you.
we have said it. You heard it here first on the No Jazz Show. Godell. Matter of fact, subscribe, comment, and share.
Let's talk about this. We
Let's
ain't
talk
gonna
about
ask. We ain't gonna ask for too much.
the truth of the matter is y'all be strong arming people so much y'all might. We are not partners with y'all anymore if y'all don't allow none of our. Y'all got these people out here telling us what we need to do, and it's a good idea. But at any rate, down to the last 8 minutes of the show, we are going into our segment Twins. What the Twins are, it stands for this week's impact name. We haven't decided it's gonna be name or notable, but you know, whichever one you want to do, it's the N and the win. And what it is we take a player from today in this era that's playing currently, who has shown something in the past week that reminds us of a player from yesteryear. And what we're saying is that player played so well that they did something so unique. It reminded us, and they have that player's DNA coming in. Do y'all understand? So we choose a player from this week and we compare them to and introduce you back to a player from yesteryear. Now, the most interesting part, and I broke the rules the way he did us, But anyway, I could have broke the rules again this week, the way Dial was played. But at any rate, and shout out to George too. You did your thing, but they're not my guys. But we like to compare their DNA to a player for whom, and we mentioned a lot tonight, a player for whom he's a forgotten hero. You know what I'm saying? He's like the Green Lantern compared to Superman and Batman. Them. Y'all know they're gonna get in the movie, but Hawkman them was bad. Buck Rogers was bad. We don't want you to forget that these guys did exist. There's a Hulk. Yes, there's a Hulk. There's a Thing. But there's also the man with the electricity at the bottom of the
Yeah. What was it? Black Lightning.
like lightning. There's a
Yeah,
black lightning. Y'all got to understand. And that's what we saying. Because these guys were very bad. But anyway, at any rate, that's what the whole point is. So, Tank, you went first last time.
yeah, yeah. I think I
Yeah,
did.
bump you, man. I'm going first. This. I'm always pulling up the rear for you. So, my guy for this week is none other than hear your name, Puka Nakua.
Hey, Puka.
Puka in a 27-20 win had 13 receptions for 170 yards and 1 TD. Puka was dealing. Puka made me some money too. And
Puka's a bad boy.
Puka's a bad boy. Now, even though he's 6'2", even though he's 6'2", I'm gonna keep it in house. And Puka, you gonna get your jersey. I'm gonna keep it in house because you had the DNA, and I told you were gonna make it twice tonight. I told you were gonna make it twice tonight. Puka Nakua has the DNA of Henry Eller.
Nice, nice.
The way he played, he was on his Henry Eller, and so shout out to Henry Eller who got mentioned twice tonight.
Same team too.
Same team with that same type of productivity, baby. You know what I'm saying? Straight up. So that's what he was doing. So my twins are Puka Nakua and Henry Eller.
And mine,
Hold on.
first of all, oh, okay.
Are you gonna do your introduction? I want to drum roll you.
Okay. My twins for this week are Denver Broncos, J.K. Dobbins, who rushed for over 100 yards, the first time a Bronco has rushed for over 100 yards in 38 games since Sean Payton has been there. Now, the reason, well, he did that, but the reason why I picked him and I picked his twin is because Dobbins has had in his short career a history of bad knee injuries.
Yeah.
He's torn his knees up a few times and he's come back each time and been productive when you would think that he wouldn't be. Now, that twin, that same DNA being able to come back from multiple knee injuries is not who you think it is because we're going way back.
Okay, because I'm like, okay,
Yeah,
he's staying home. Okay, but
we,
go ahead.
we're going way back. Tell me if you remember this name. He came from Clemson, tore his knee up in school, and still came out in the draft, tore his knee up again in the NFL, but put together multiple 1,000-yard seasons and had a long, productive career, even though he had torn his knees up multiple times. And this was back when the medical technology wasn't great.
Out of Clemson?
Out of Clemson.
See, I'm thinking about most recent, and he didn't do that well in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
Wait a minute, are we talking the neck roll era?
Did he wear a neck roll? I think he did wear a neck roll, a small one.
Okay, I don't want to cheat. Tell me who it is.
Terry Allen.
Terry
Terry
Allen
Allen
out of Washington. He
put up,
was when he
yeah,
played. He
put
was
up
on Clemson.
put up multiple 1,000-yard seasons.
He sure did.
Played
Shout
with
out
the
to Terry
Vikings,
Allen.
played with the
Okay,
Vikings,
okay.
played with the Redskins.
Played with the
Yes.
Redskins. You threw me off because
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know he got injured in college.
Yeah. He was a Heisman Trophy
I didn't
candidate.
know. I know.
He was
I
thought
know. I
about
knew
as
about
that.
the ones in the NFL, and he had
Yeah.
been. But I didn't know. I didn't know. Okay, that's what's up. All right. So go ahead. Go ahead.
And because of him coming back from those injuries, they both did. Dobbins, of course, has better technology now, but it's still tremendous to come back the way he has multiple times. Also, and then for Terry Allen to do it, come back from 2, 3 catastrophic knee injuries and be as productive as he was, putting up 1,000-yard seasons, double-digit touchdowns, rushing. Yeah, look up Terry Allen.
Look
But
up Terry Allen.
those are my twins, and they have that DNA being able to come back from adversity multiple times and still getting the job done.
Absolutely. Now, so we're gonna congratulate Terry Allen, Puka Nakua, and Henry Allen. These are our twins. This week's impact names and their DNA for this week. Awesome, 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 awesome. Y'all can look up that Terry Allen boy. Look at that Henry Allen too. Well, I've said his name enough time tonight, man. I might owe you some money. Now, of course, are there any last? Wait. This has been our episode, and we want to make sure you follow us at No Jazz Show, NOJASSSHOW on YouTube. Same spelling on Facebook and X. No Jazz Show, NOJASS. Well, look it up. Damn it. On TikTok. Shout out to everybody that watches us on Riverside when we go live. We may go live again this week, but this is just a regular episode. Shout out to our sponsors. Remember, order all your food from Light Snack, all your lunch, breakfast, dinner. And when you order that food from Light Snack, make sure you order those Magic City wings, and don't forget to lick the sauce. And if it's a late night meal and you got a late night snack, why don't you put on some late night wear and get it from quickvisit.com, QUIKVISITS. Now, we've gotten to the point of the show because I didn't want to do this after I do all this.
Okay.
Got to the point of the show, we're going to give out our last and final words. And I'm going to let Tank go first, and then I'll go.
My last word is something I've been thinking about for quite some time. It's not sports related, so I guess you could say it's a hit refresh moment.
We're going to hit the refresh button for this final word.
Yes,
And
yeah.
we ain't hit it in a while, so we need to hit it. But go ahead.
I think of this music, particularly R&B, and even more specifically soul music, because there is a difference. We used to have soul music, we don't have it anymore, and we really don't have mainstream R&B. You got to go hunt and find it. But my thing is this: there was a time when the music would reflect what was going on in the community and what was going on in the world, and bring out things that need to be changed and things you need to think about.
Absolutely.
And it will reflect, and it was speaking out, and music was it was a melodic protest at the time. Now it's just a bunch of mess. And it's not just that, but can we get back to using instruments, not just synthesizers, not just all electronics? And if you want to know what I mean by music having a message, music being truly melodic, using all instruments. I mean, you haven't heard a trumpet in a song in forever. You haven't heard a saxophone. You haven't heard a trombone. You haven't heard strings unless it was a guitar. If you go and listen to the music, you still had it in the 80s. You had it definitely in the 70s and 60s. Listen to the OJs. Listen to I Love Music. Listen to Family Reunion. Listen to Used to Be My Girl. And I'm not just talking about the message, but I'm talking about the instrumentation. You hear all of these instruments that I've mentioned. You can't get that out of a synthesizer. I don't care what anybody says. You don't get the same sound. You don't get the same feeling. Music used to make you really feel something and make you want to get up and do something constructive and productive. Now it wants to make you be unproductive, destructive, and non-constructive. So I would love to see real music come back. Real music, real lyrics, real instruments, and a real message. Again, and you know, Eddie Levert, you don't owe me any money for this, but this is just that's one of the groups that really highlights what I'm talking about as far as a message, lyrics, and actual instruments, the whole sound. If you listen to if you go back and listen to the Philadelphia sound, or even go back even further and listen to the Motown string, they had a band and orchestra that you heard everything. You don't hear the string, you don't hear any of that anymore. I would just like to see music go back to that.
You know, that's awesome because even when we were apart, and I believe that's why there's so much dissension
Mm-hmm.
in social media and all this ruckus, because the white artists as well as the black artists, especially in these political and social political times that
Mm-hmm.
have always happened, they did have that tune that calmed us down.
Yeah.
The melody, we might have had a differentiating opinion. We might have had a bad president that was doing this and a party that didn't like what this party was doing, etc. But the artistry
Mm-hmm.
did know how to grab that social conflict, that social debate, whatever was going on, and the war. If it was a war going on, they knew how to grab it and bring it back to calmness. Like I can remember when there was that war and all those soldiers were being deployed, and I forgot the name of the song, but this is like the last time I kind of heard one of these. I don't care how you get here if you can.
Yeah.
The young lady was just talking about her mate. Her mate wasn't at war. Her mate was just come to my house, baby. But the words and the temperature of what was going on in America at that time, it became this melodic cry for "I miss you." And
Mm-hmm.
so, you can name a whole lot of artists: Otis Redding, James Brown. They would really grab their pens. Marvin Gaye, they would grab
Yep.
their pens, and Sam Cooke, they would grab their pens and they would let us know. Joe Crocker, they would let us know, we feel you. You don't know how to express it. So we're gonna express it for you, you know. But then again, we're at an era where, I can't even get a song to write my girl a love letter. So it's just those era. But I think the artists definitely need to. I ain't ask you to do "We Are the World," but I think that
Yeah,
level of
they
artistry
yeah,
is
we need that back. We need
yeah,
it
yeah,
back.
that level of artistry is a missing art. Now, I guess this is in its own sense our final words. That is a slash hit refresh moment because it's coincidentally you were talking about live music and bands, and I'm about to talk about the same thing. But mine is a little different because I am going to talk about bands and I'm going to talk about marching bands, specifically HBCU marching bands. And there was an incident this past week. The Florida A&M Rattlers marching 100 met the Alabama State band. They played the game, and then of course, and if you're not familiar with this tradition, you're just not familiar with this tradition. But we're just living in an era where I guess it's just different. And longtime band announcer Joe Bullard made a statement about the opposing band that their dancers looks like the spokesmodels for Ozempic. And if you don't know what Ozempic is, it's a weight loss supplement pill. And if you don't know what the honeybees are, they are Alabama's dancing girls, and they breed them. They recruit and they breed them to be what will probably be plus size in any other state except Alabama. And the tradition, see, people don't understand. If in an HBCU game, every game is almost like a classic, and it's a rivalry of some sort. And one main part of that rivalry, which is a heavyweight boxing match, is my band is better than yours, and a part of that is your MC. And we talking, this goes back years. It's never been a problem to go with the dozens. It's never been a problem to take something that's happening to your school politically, socially. One of your alumni did something. Oh, we're gonna get you. And it's just tradition.
Yeah.
It it's just something within the stadium. Oh, you got us. You got us. That was a good one. This is the first time I have ever, and I'm saying all that because you have to understand this is the setup. Like this is, I've never ever heard someone can say something about somebody in this environment and it's wrong. I'm not saying I agree with what he's saying. I'm saying it's like going in a boxing ring and getting mad you got punched. The gloves off. Them just the rules, but not today. We just living in a time, man, where something as insensitive as the dozens is sensitive. It hurt me that it was like that. I get it. I personally, knowing what the honeybees are and knowing that they don't they don't even look for girls 105 to 125. That's not you're not gonna make it. I almost was like, who on the honeybees is in this era not embracing what the honeybees are? I'm asking myself that. It should have been. That's right, girl. That's the T. We big. Yeah. What's up? And there'll be some pretty big girls too. You know, I'm not gonna say I'm a chubby chaser. I like big girls, but y'all do have some of the prettiest feet. What that is, I don't know how y'all do that, but y'all be having some of the prettiest feet. At any rate, something going on. But at any rate, I just hope that we can get back to the days, and I don't want nobody to be disrespected or feel disrespected. And I'm not saying that at all, but I just hope we can get back to the days where in the arena of that type of stuff, we can just let it be what it is. Don't take it personal.
Right.
Everybody just kind of just calm down a bit. And shout out to Mr. Joe Bullock. You know, you are an icon in Tallahassee, and I hope you apologize, but I hope this just kind of just goes to the wayside. But just like I said before, clearly Uncle Joe Bullard would rather have the young Pinky versus the older Pinky. And those are my last words. Those are my last and final words of the evening. Now, this has been not just another sports show. I am your host, KD, and I got my partner. There are no Robins in here. It's only Superman and Batman. Woo. Tank, salute these people.
We'll see y'all next time if it's another show.
Woo, good Lord. Good Lord. Shout out, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to the GOAT Pinky. See you later.
You just watched another episode of No Jazz. Follow us on YouTube at No Jazz Show. And make sure you hit us up on Twitter at No Jazz Show. Make sure you hit us up on Instagram at noj.a.s.s. Follow us on Facebook on our Facebook page at No Jazz Show. All right? See you soon.